Hi guys, so here we are with section 6.2. We're looking at trigonomic equations, part 1. So we're going to be looking at 5 different methods. The linear method, or basically solving using linear techniques, are factoring, just like with quadratics, other quadratic methods such as the quadratic formula, using trigonomic identities. Okay, these ones are pretty simple. Next section will get a bit more difficult. And then also some real world examples, which we will look at in class. Okay, so first off, something that it mentions in this section is what is a conditional equation? And actually, I bet you know what it is, but don't think that you do. So a conditional equation is one that is satisfied by some values, but not others. So, we deal with lots of conditional equations, such as linear equations. Any types of functions that you generally studied are conditional. Something that's not a conditional function is what we call an identity. Okay, so identities, and this may seem really simple, but identities are true for every single value. So that's something important that you'll want to know. Alright, so the key to this section is basically, you need to be able to identify how you should go about solving the equations and then do it correctly, which is a duh. Okay, so identifying what type of problem this is and how you're going to solve it is the hardest part. So I'd recommend going to the green box on page 227. It gives you a list of kind of tips for solving these problems. And also what I've done is I have gone through and I kind of made a map on how you would approach solving problems. So let me walk you through it. So first off, you look at a problem and you want to see does it have just one function in it? Okay, so for example, if it was something like sine of negative or sine minus 2 equals 1, that has just one trig function. Okay, so in that case, you're going to go down the yes path, okay, this path right here, and solve it like a linear equation, and then check your solutions are in the desired interval. So is it between 0 and 2 pi, or 0 and 360 degrees? Now, if it's not a one trig function, such as your right here, cotangent squared plus 3 cotangent equals 1, or so that one has two separate functions, this one has two different functions, and then this one has it's not a single linear function here. So if you have any of those combinations, you're going to want to this is important, okay? You're going to want to rearrange it and set your problems equal to 0. After that, how you're going to solve it will depend on whether it's quadratic in form or not. Okay, so if it looks like a quadratic, say it has something like x squared plus x, oops, so plus x plus c. Okay, this is bad. Okay, so plus x plus c, or ax squared plus bx plus c. So something like that being quadratic in form, you are going to want to see if it's factorable. If it is, then you're going to factor it by setting each factor equal to 0. And if not, you're going to go the other pathway here and use your quadratic formula, okay, which you should have memorized. So look it up if you don't. But if it's not quadratic in form, then what you're going to do is you'll go down this path here, and you want to use your identities, okay, to change the form of the equation. So change it from something that's not quadratic in form to something that is, or something that's solvable. Okay, and we'll do some more specific examples with this, but what's pretty important here is that if you by chance use the method that they suggest, such as squaring both sides, okay, and I can't emphasize this enough, you have to check for your extraneous solutions. So go back and plug your answers in and check and see if they're right or wrong. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Alright, and I put some pretty stars on here to make it look a little bit more snazzy. But what I'd like you to do now is to read through section 6.2 and jot down questions, if you have any, for me in class. And then I want you to try these problems, okay? So come to class with these problems done. On the next video, so there are 2 videos for this section, you want to see the video 6.2, the problem solutions, for explanations to how to do these problems right here, okay? So I will explain how to do these. Now, this will help you be able to understand the book examples. So if you're struggling with those, please watch this video and see how I solve these problems here. All right, so go ahead and take a try or take a look at these. So like it shows here, just to point out, it says number 1, right? And then this is like example number 1. And this problem right here, number 2, is like example number 3. And then, so you can kind of try and use those as a guide, right? And at the bottom, note that we will work a problem like example 4 in class, but there isn't one in these notes. So good luck, and I'll see you in video 6.2, your problem solutions.